Hey everybody, Leah Klett here with the Christian Post, and I'm so excited today to be joined by actor Reza Diako. He plays Philip in The Chosen, and today we're talking all things season 5 and season 6. I'm excited to talk to you today about Philip and what a ride this journey with The Chosen has been for you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been quite a ride from day one since I came a couple of years ago in season four, and getting to meet everybody from cast, crew, obviously the fans of the Chosen family. We're all big family huddled together, so it's great.
Okay, so you've called Philip an outcast, but also kind of the heartbeat of the group, right? So,
Yeah.
talk to me about what drew you to the role of Philip and how your connection to him has evolved over the years since jumping in season 4.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, Philip is interesting because from the scripts and experiences we know from him in season two, and then going forward, he comes in on one hand, as this like kind of odd idiosyncratic figure who people, can't tell, what his incentives are, whether he is with us or against us right from the bat, kind of misunderstood, goes into, conversations with Matthew, talking about empathy with him, about being outside the circle and not really being understood. Whilst at the same time, he's gone through a very sort of rigorous, practice training with John the Baptist in the wilderness, practice of letting go of the material sort of needs. So in that sense, he's a little bit also an outcast, but at the same time, he's very much a good person as part of a group. I always see him as like almost like a wolf pack member who knows how to keep everyone together. So in some sense, it was interesting because it was very similar to my own life experiences. I've kind of had to go around different countries and different places. I've been to four different places, countries, and different settings all around, and had to adapt to very different situations. And through that, I think it also like helped me understand Philip a lot because I think when you have to do a lot of changes, you focus more on the sort of metaphorical and spiritual, and also the values that people carry, less more than let's say the concrete structures that you're in because you're on the move, nomadic, So yeah.
Well, your background is also so interesting to me because you study psychology, you have a master's in mental health, and you even spent some time in med school. So, how do those experiences shape the emotional layers that Philip really has and brings to the table?
Um, how does it? Yeah, I mean, I did. I studied a lot before becoming an actor. I think Philip is a wonderful character as he is. So I don't know if my studies directly necessarily bring anything, but I think I try to subjectively, of course, draw from all of my, personal and also, academic life experience, as opposed to add flavors and ask questions. I mean, for me in general, I think a lot of preparation for acting is about curiosity and asking questions constantly. Uh, Never stopping, never ending a ceiling of questioning. And I think with my background in psychology, with I did some Jungian work and depth psychology, and also even in medicine, you sort of have this rigorous engine, I suppose, that whether it's asking questions about physical health matters or psycho-spiritual aspects, you kind of never stop asking questions. And so that's the most simplest way to put it. And then obviously it gives you uh, tools about layering the character. So you start from the ground up, you start from the childhood. I had a lot of experience with children as well. So you kind of think about, what would Philip be like as a child? Or, what would, make him leave the comfort zone of a small town in Bethsaida where he's happy with his family to go into the wilderness with John. So, and then you keep exploring.
Well, there's such an intensity to the group dynamic this season, right? There's betrayals, there's doubt, there's moments of deep faith. How does Philip really fit into that emotional landscape?
Um, how does he feel? I think that, going back to what I was saying, I think he's possibly one of the only disciples who, I mean, first of all, he sought out Jesus, um, instead of kind of needing to be convinced. So he's the one that in season two we see him go and say, I have two words, I will, follow me, which I think is really unique in the sense that it kind of reflects a little bit. I always try and look at what is he actually doing and what does that say. So I suppose he's very interesting because I think he was obviously he saw the miracle of the baptism, and so from then on, I always ask the question again of what made him now that he's found his kind of comfortable family in John the Baptist and the gang that is there, the family. Why did he leave again to go to Jesus? So that must have been a profound mo moment for him. That he's seeking something. Uh, I think is almost ineffable or is something that it's not about comfort. It's not about material. It's even not about necessarily like a material family. But maybe he doesn't even know. But I think that's kind of part of the guide. So he goes out and finds this new team, immediately knows how to like navigate and make everyone feel comfortable with him, and almost tries to be the gel between like the immediate tensions between Simon Peter and Matthew, and so on and so forth as the story goes on. So I suppose there is a lot of tension, and a lot of disciples have come from very different, conflicting backgrounds. It might be maybe a little bit more sort of attached to comforts of their lives, and maybe he comes with this voice of like, hey, like don't worry, as long as we're all part of the same sort of uh, spiritual path anyway. So let's focus on where we're going with Jesus as opposed to um, the sort of material stories where John and James are suddenly looking for a throne and left hand in season four, and Judas is doing his own thing, and Matthew sometimes gets insecure. So it's an interesting dynamic to navigate. I suppose that conversation with him and Jesus in two always sits with me when Jesus says, your experience and rigorous process with John has something special to offer with regards to being comfortable with discomfort.
Yeah, it's a great reminder for everybody. Were there any moments in season five that especially challenged you or deepened your faith or understanding of the person of Jesus and who he is?
Absolutely. It's impossible not to when you're there and you're kind of embodying, one of the historical characters that is present at the time, and you almost everything. I mean, one of the reasons I love The Chosen is that it kind of humanizes everything for everybody. So viewers itself of themselves get touched by every we know how much the show has impacted everybody, but obviously when you're in there and you're embodying and you see, of course they're your fellow cast members and actors playing these roles, but the material that we're uh, working with is extremely sacred and transcendent. So it's yeah, I mean every moment. Are there moments? I suppose what is actually more interesting to me is how like accessible it becomes in the sense that it's less of something you reach that is like so far away. But when you have those very humanized conversations between the disciples, whether they're struggling to understand something or feel extremely in pain or even triggered or traumatized by some aspect of their lives, the flashbacks kind of are interesting because it gives you a little bit more of a normalcy of these disciples who are, ordinary people that you can see in these lives, our lives today, in academia, in carpentry, whatever it is, or different walks of life. Uh, but here they are gathering together over something quite special in the Last Supper. I think the sort of idiosyncrasy of that, I don't know if that's very specific enough, but it's very interesting. And then obviously there's that scene where they're trying to figure out when the message lands, when Jesus says, I'm dying, and they finally understand, but they don't want to understand. That's also very, I think, it touched me because I think it's very interesting that we almost always hear the signs, I suppose, but then we sort of ignore or we don't understand or we can't understand fully. But sometimes we just gotta go through those little, battles as we go, you keep the faith regardless, I suppose.
Okay, without giving too much away, what can viewers expect from the next season of The Chosen, and how does it build on the momentum and the emotional weight of season five?
It becomes heavier. Um, Temporarily, I hope. Um, uh, I think, yeah, it's we know where we're going with the story, I suppose. So it's it's difficult. It's painful. I suppose. Again, I think that what we have to, I suppose, not look forward to, but yeah, I guess so. Is that it's I don't know yet because it's still in process, but to see it actually come to life, and those iconic moments come to life through The Chosen. I think one of the reasons I think this particular depiction of the journey of the crucifixion is going to be interesting is because we've built a journey with Jesus' disciples and even the people that were there for what is it now, 5 seasons, 6 seasons. So it's not the same as like seeing that iconic moment kind of captured in a little, jingle. We have a long journey with these characters. And so I suppose the impact of it may be much more like losing an actual family member or what that would be like. It's very exciting.
The Chosen just keeps getting more popular. It's like every season, the viewership just increases. Obviously, this deal with Amazon is huge. What do you think accounts for the popularity, the success of The Chosen, and why is it continuing to resonate with viewers?
Um, I mean, I think that in the current times, uh, there's a lot of hatred and a lot of division and a lot of doubt and questions and unknowns. And I think that in times like this, uh, any project that carries messages of faith, of unity, of being present as human for another human who is not there, who was not necessarily getting any support, who's vulnerable, who is an outcast. I think one of the grips of the show, especially from season one, is how, Jesus treats Magdalene, Jesus treats Matthew, Jesus treats all these people who are outcasts. Um, and so it kind of transcends the sort of story of I think it goes higher even than the story of Christ or the story of like um, just the story itself. It's hitting at something that everybody is quarreling with. And in that sense, I'm not surprised that it's expanding because it's any human being who has breathed air for once in their life will know what it's like to have the struggles that those characters would have had in season one, two, and going on. So I suppose ultimately it is that sort of visceral humanization of a very, very sacred time period and moment that makes it so impactful to a global audience, and it's incredible to see.
What do you hope first time viewers of The Chosen, and maybe longtime fans walk away with after season five, heading into season six?
Watching us all suffer. um, what are they excited about? I suppose, the show itself, though, the quality, the level of depth, the writing, everything else, the team, I think has gelled together so well over the last few years. I was lucky to join in last year as well and be a part of season four. I think it's a very uh, it's a very in-flow time now where everybody knows, each other so well. And then the story, of course, is going to take off into its maximum level of emotional intensity. So if you're the kind that enjoys intensity, then I suppose you're very excited for what's coming. If you can't handle it, then I'm so sorry. But it's still going to happen, but I suppose there's some good news at the end for the following season. So keep at it and hold your chairs tight. And it's yeah, I mean it's exciting because the show is just so beautiful and it's also expanding and growing in every single way and touching so many different lives. So in every way, we can be excited and grateful and uh, yeah, I'm thankful to be part of it so much. So
Well, Reza, thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you.
thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more Christ-centered journalism.